way.
Tonight in 7 News, Queensland shivers Brisbane's coldest May day in almost a century. A teenager plunges to his death during a drug-fuelled party on the Gold Coast. Pubs, cafes and restaurants plead to the Premier to allow 50 patrons in. Touching down, the first plane on Brisbane's new runway a decade after the billion-dollar project began. What was behind the spectacular sky show which flashed across Australia? And a step back in time, the new dinosaur discovery taking shape in outback Queensland.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Good evening. Brisbane has shivered through its coldest May day since 1922. An icy blast sent shivers throughout Queensland, even extending into the tropics.
Shivering through a Saturday stroll.
Freezing. My legs are icicles.
The winter woolies pulled out early, but some came unprepared.
You've forgotten your pants.
Yeah, I know. I forgot them.
Only got these and a jacket.
Should have bring jackies.
Extra motivation needed for an outdoor workout at South Bank.
Way too cold.
The joints are too cold to move.
Others didn't seem to mind.
It was a cold one when we woke up, but I was like, we need to get out of the house.
Not a soul in sight braving the newly opened pools. Locals in Moreton Bay instead embracing the indoor aquatic centre, which is back in business.
I'm 100% happy that the indoor pool is the one that's open today, not the outdoor one.
Residents in Rockhampton convinced winter's come early.
It's the first time I've worn jeans for about 3 years.
The May event even stretching up into the tropics.
It's not normal in Cairns to wear a jumper.
What we've got at the moment is a southwesterly coming through and rain from the upper atmosphere, and basically that's just cooling those already cold air.
Today, Brisbane reached just 15 degrees. Bundaberg at 12 and Rockhampton atop of 12 too. Even stretching to the tropics, Townsville 14 degrees and Cairns at 20. We should see temperatures start to increase by tomorrow, while next week will still be below the average. Days will be nowhere near as cold as today. A rare day for Queenslanders, but no complaining from some. Brittany Lane, 7 News.
Let's go to Bertie now. And Bertie, how cold will it get tonight?
Single digits across the entire southeast there, Katrina. Let's have a look at the satellite picture. You can see exactly why we're getting these southwesterly winds. The low off Sydney, whipping up cool air from the Southern Ocean. The high over the Southern Bight, whipping up those onshore winds as well. So we're getting that combination. Now, for current temperatures, it's sitting steady at around 14 degrees, the average. Already dropping up there at Toowoomba, which is to be expected. But the next couple of hours, we'll see it plummet even more. Today, average around 14 Bayside, Sunshine Coast, 15 to 16 Gold Coast in the city, and a cool day again Toowoomba. But tomorrow morning there, Katrina, it looks as though we'll be getting down to around 5 to 8 degrees the average. I'll have more weather for you shortly.
Thanks, Bertie. A major investigation is continuing tonight after a Brisbane teenager, Kian English, fell to his death during a drug-fuelled party on the Gold Coast. 4 others were taken to hospital after overdosing on prescription drugs.
Neighbours watched in shock as the body of a teenager was driven away from this surface paradise unit.
It's very sad and strange to know someone died here.
The 19-year-old's trip from Brisbane ended in horror after he fell from the 4th floor balcony during a drug-fuelled party. A passerby found him on the footpath around 3 a.m.
Very sad. He had quite traumatic injuries.
Police door-knocking every unit. They found a group of teens aged between 16 and 19 slumped, barely conscious after taking prescription drugs. 4 people were transported to hospital for treatment.
A couple of them were depressed levels of consciousness and needed to be roused.
It's understood a large quantity of Valium was found in the room.
There wasn't a disturbance earlier in the same complex.
That was around 2:20 a.m. when a pair of men from the same party were arrested in possession of prescription drugs. But it's still unclear how the man fell from the balcony. Officers have been here all day guarding the crime scene and gathering evidence to try to work out how this tragedy unfolded.
People underestimate drugs. It's as simple as that.
I suppose we've all taken chances in our lives and sometimes it ends tragically.
And leaves a family heartbroken. On the Gold Coast, Crystal Etherington, 7 News.
Pubs, cafes and restaurants could be allowed to open to up to 50 patrons in just 3 weeks. Pressure is mounting on the Premier to act now after the New South Wales government declared their restrictions would be eased next week.
At pubs across Brisbane, taps have long been dry.
It's been demoralising. Our staff have been out of work since the 23rd of March.
But today the Premier provided some hope.
They could have 50 people and they would probably open for 50 people.
That's if she changes her mind and lifts the level 2 limit.
It's absolutely devastating. I can't say it any other way. 50, it'd still be very empty.
It would be a one-size-fits-all approach for pubs and restaurants across Queensland, a blow for the bigger businesses trying to stay afloat.
Common sense should prevail and a square meterage should be applied.
The opposition insisting more than 50 patrons should be allowed if the 4 square metre rule is enforced.
As long as these venues can maintain the social distancing requirements.
But for now, the Boundary Hotel, which can seat 720 people comfortably, is reopening to bookings of just 10.
It's not a large number, but it's something.
As it currently stands, 20 people will be able to dine in from June 13. But many businesses will be operating at a significant loss unless restrictions are lifted.
It's been really quiet and boring, and I miss those busy days when we were smashed by customers.
But there's a long road ahead. The state's 2032 Olympic bid today put on hold.
They haven't even made a decision when the Tokyo Olympics are, so any discussion about it is very premature.
We fully agree that this isn't the time for the 3 levels of government to be focused on the bid.
But for the 90,000 international students who can't return home, today some good news. The Queensland government is providing $10 million, teaming up with the daughter of film director Baz Luhrmann, launching an appeal to help struggling students.
Brought this to my attention and said, I got to do something about this, Dad. I think I'm just a proud dad. It's a really Queensland thing to look out for each other.
As we head towards stage 2. And today, the nurse who continued to work at the North Rockhampton Nursing Centre while showing symptoms of coronavirus has been referred to the Crime and Corruption Committee. She's been stood down from her position pending the outcome of that investigation. Overnight, 2 new cases of COVID-19 were added to the Queensland total, but both those cases were acquired and diagnosed interstate.
Thank you, Izzy. Well, there is growing pressure tonight on the federal government to expand the JobKeeper scheme to include more workers after uncovering a $60 billion accounting error. Labor says the coalition has lost all credibility when it comes to economic management.
Hailing an epic budget blunder.
There's no doubt there's been a real big error here.
As a budget triumph.
In the end, what it means is our country is less indebted than it otherwise would be.
The government's saving $60 billion on its JobKeeper program after overestimating the take-up by 3 million workers.
It's about time this Prime Minister took responsibility for the errors that are there.
Still no word from Scott Morrison, now under pressure to spend the savings to help workers who missed out.
There's more than 2 million workers who haven't been covered by the scheme. The government's got no more excuses.
Like casuals who've been with their employer for less than a year, staff at universities and foreign-owned companies like in-flight catering service Donata.
Show a heart and give us an opportunity so that we can feed our families.
The government refusing to relent, but pressure to extend the wage subsidies stemming not only from its opponents, but one of its own. Tasmania's Liberal Premier Peter Gutwein claiming the 6-month scheme should be extended for a longer period, targeting additional support at those industries that will take longer to recover. Set to make his case at Friday's National Cabinet meeting, confident other states will follow. This bungle bringing further burden. Olivia Leeming, 7 News.
Britain has rejected Australia's request to be exempt from new quarantine rules, forcing visitors to the UK into 14 days of self-isolation. That scheme won't kick in until the 8th of June, months after our borders were closed. The British government has faced criticism for not acting sooner. The country's death toll has now soared above 36,000. Police are investigating the discovery of a woman's body at Redland Bay early this morning. The 44-year-old woman's body was found in a creek not far from her home. Forensic investigators spent today scouring the area. It's believed she may have slipped and fallen. Police are currently not treating her death as suspicious. Their stories are astonishing. 2 passengers are the only survivors from a plane crash in Pakistan, one leaping from the Airbus as it came down in a congested neighbourhood in Pakistan. The suburb lies right next to the runway at Karachi Airport. As the plane came into land, pilots made a desperate mayday call that 2 engines were gone. Just seconds later, they slammed into homes.
Burning, smoke-filled chaos and giant pieces of an Airbus. In the moments after an A320 crashed into this crowded Pakistan alleyway, witnesses, dwarfed by the smoke, were certain there'd be no survivors from Flight 8303. Remarkably, they were wrong. Zafar Massoud, fire still raging behind him, somehow has just fractures and scratches. The local bank president was sitting in row 1. The second survivor, Mohammed Zubair, leapt from seat 8F just after impact. He says when the plane caught fire, he unfastened his seatbelt, saw light and jumped 3 metres to the ground. Then, in the chaos, this, a baby, alive, believed to have been pulled from the rubble of one of several collapsed homes. From the cockpit, the final exchange.
We have lost engines. Mayday, 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 Pakistan 8303.
Survivors say the plane, with 99 people on board, had already aborted one landing. A later flight coming in over the smoking ruins shows just how close they'd come to making it home. This man says he saw the plane's cockpit and the body of the pilot inside. Many of his passengers were headed for a celebration on the eve of the Muslim festival of Eid. Domestic flights had just resumed in the wake of the pandemic. Maintenance will be a focus of the investigation. So too the possibility of a bird strike, notorious at Karachi Airport. They're still searching for the black box. But in a crash of this magnitude, what they do have is almost unheard of: survivors. Angela Cox, 7 News.
A family going through unimaginable pain has paid tribute to their son who was hit and killed by a truck driven by his father. 5-year-old Sydney boy Harrison Sproul will be remembered as a cheeky, adventurous kid with a heart of gold.
At the family dinner table, despair. Doug Sproul, his daughter Claire and son Max sit together. In front of them, photos of their little Harry.
Very happy, little mischievous. He was very outdoors, loved his horse. He loved his brothers and sister.
He also loved trucks.
He used to come with me a lot in the truck. He loved it. He loved it.
Harrison was growing up fast and he had a bright future ahead.
He started school this year. He loved going to school. He absolutely loved it.
He called a big school.
Just after 5 p.m. yesterday, Harrison was killed in an accident at the family trucking yard in Picton. The 5-year-old was pinned between 2 trucks. His father was behind the wheel of one of them.
Sorry, that's all I can say.
You don't have to be sorry, it was an accident.
I fix problems every day, but I couldn't fix this one.
It's horrific enough that Doug Sproul has lost his youngest child. But to add to Doug's pain, he blames himself for Harrison's death.
That's my job, to protect him, and I failed on this one.
You didn't fail.
The Sproul family now facing a life without Harrison, but they draw strength from the incredible impact he made on them all in such a short time.
He will be sadly missed. He will be deeply sadly missed.
He was special. You don't find a kid like that.
Peter Fegan, 7 News.
Ashley Cooper will be honoured during the Summer of Tennis. The Wimbledon, French and dual Australian Open winner and proud Queenslander died yesterday. He built Pat Rafter Arena and started Club Coops at Castledine in 1979.
The legacy of the Cooper name and what he did in tennis obviously inspires us just to do a little bit more.
He's being remembered as a gentleman both on and off the court. Brisbane's new runway has passed its final test with flying colours. The first plane touched down this morning, one of very few airport arrivals during the aviation shutdown.
A pilot of more than 50 years, he's landed at airports
Report on the ground, Sarah,
across the country. But Nigel Wedenhall's flight today was unique. His aircraft, the first to christen Brisbane's new runway.
From my viewpoint, so the lighting viewpoint is perfect.
The final test for the largest aviation construction project in Australia.
We brought in 1.1 million cubic metres of rock. We've poured just under 200,000 cubic metres of concrete. We put in 2,200 lights.
When planning began over a decade ago, Brisbane Airport was reaching capacity. By the time this second runway opens in July, it will carry only a handful of flights.
We expect, and we've been working with the airline partners, that domestic travel will bounce back.
The Brisbane Airport Corporation already looking far beyond COVID-19.
When BAC committed the $1.1 billion to this project, this was to set Brisbane up for the next 40 to 50 years.
Its completion after 8 years of construction, a symbol of hope that the only way is up. Emily Arnold, 7 News.
We may be battling a pandemic, but the demand for buying a new home remains high. There's a shortage of listings, but bargains can still be found. Police search for more evidence linked to the murder of a couple at Joyner. The handbrake turned to avoid getting caught, so how did this dramatic chase end? And before the weather getting bigger, the spectacular Queensland outback attraction, millions of years in the making.
Every night, 7 News brings you the total picture.
We have breaking news now.
The full story.
As far as accounting errors go, it's a doozy.
The answers you need.
Roadmap to recovery will not be altered.
Turn to 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life. Oh, this is the house of our dreams.
Mum's Whole House Reveal. House Rules. Sunday at 7.
You bring the family, we'll fetch the entertainment. Get the things you love to watch with a Fetch Box. With one simple menu and one remote. You'll need your TV, antenna, broadband, and a Fetch Mini or Mighty Box. Enjoy free-to-air TV live or later, recorded up to 6 shows at once on a Mighty Box or via catch-up. Stream your Netflix, Stan, Amazon Prime Video and YouTube to your TV. Buy TV shows or movies on demand, thousands of them, with all the latest releases. Add $6 channel packs, kids, knowledge, vibe, variety, or get over 45 channels in the Ultimate Pack to watch at home or on the go. Get Fetch from our partners or buy a box to use with any internet provider. TV, streaming, channels and movies. All your entertainment in one place. Fetch, we bring it.
Sunsuper's stress-tested investment strategies have delivered returns that have beaten the industry average over 3, 5, 7 and 10 years. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sunsuper.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, 10 gigs of scrolling through memory lane, 10 gigs of staycations, or 10 gigs of catching up with the family. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. We all spend family time differently. Together, we're different. Belong.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
If you're struggling to balance work, life and family, you need to shake it up. Ensure Health Shakes help you get the nutrition you need to help your body build strength from within, with a prebiotic and antioxidants to support a healthy immune system, calcium and protein for muscle and bone health. Put more balance in your work-life balance. Shake it up with Ensure.
You know you'll make a great mum one day.
Wise men say.
You know, I had the weirdest cravings when I was pregnant with you. Pickles and ice cream.
Oh, if I can falling in love with you.
Oh my god. Someone save me!
I think if you're gonna wear a red lip, you've got to commit to it. Not the guy, the lip.
Do we look like sisters?
Police are still seeking public help for their investigation into the double murder of Lois and Frank Puglia in Joyner last week. Officers set up a mobile public command post this afternoon for witnesses in the area to come forward. Anyone who was in the vicinity of Todd's and Gordon Crossing last week is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Demand for Brisbane property is soaring, with homes being snapped up faster than they're being listed. It's great news for sellers, but there are still a number of suburbs where buyers can nab a bargain.
They're buying and selling in a seller's market.
The kids are growing older, so we're just having a look around to see if we can upsize our house.
In a downsized market, property listings across the southeast plunging to a critical low as people hold on to property.
Buyers are very active. Sellers are a bit cautious. So our biggest problem at the moment is we don't have enough stock.
Brisbane property listings down 40% in the past 28 days compared to the same period last year.
Normally I'll list about 10 a month. At the moment I'm listing 2 or 3 a month.
Listings have come down considerably, but there is still very much buyer demand out there. We need more vendors to be putting their properties onto the market.
The increased competition, great news for sellers.
A couple of weeks ago I just sold one for mid-8s and that was only on the market 3 days.
Houses on good sized land and within a 10 to 15k radius of the city, they are always in high demand.
But there are still discounts to be had. The top 5 Queensland suburbs most frequently selling their homes for less than the listed price: Moggill, Camira, Goodna, Wirram on Bribie Island and Newport at Redcliffe. In a win for buyers and sellers, latest data also shows high levels of pre-approvals for finance, so buyers can act quickly to snap up a property.
Hopefully a discount on the new house and not on my house.
Jo Hayes, 7 News.
Car rental giant Hertz has filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States, describing travel restrictions during the pandemic as a rapid, sudden and dramatic hit. It's saddled with around $29 billion in debt, but the Chapter 11 filing means it can continue operating while devising a strategy to turn the business around. Hertz says business continues as usual in Australia and New Zealand, while admitting revenue has been deeply impacted by travel restrictions. A cowboy in a stolen ute has led police on a wild chase through Los Angeles. He headed the wrong way on a highway, hitting someone head-on before charging on. He managed to dodge police road spikes at the last second before finding himself blocked in and burning rubber.
Look at this. He's ramming that vehicle, going back and forth. Now he's going to escalate this, pick up some more speed, slam into this car.
He got out of that too, a crowd cheering him on as one of the tyres fell off. Eventually, the car was in such bad shape, the robbers made a run for it. Both were caught within seconds. A Griffin family have had their house broken into overnight. The exclusive pictures of the thieves confronting the owners before stealing their car. The driver of the car that crashed into a women's fashion store faces multiple charges. The Salvation Army appeal helping Australians virtually. And after sport, happiness creeping back into Queensland homes ahead of tonight's Powderfinger reunion.
Queensland's most controversial resort, how paradise was lost. Flashback 7 News, Sunday at 6.
I'm your dad. Why'd you choose now to come and find me? You're just taking me for a ride.
When he finds out the true reason his dad's here, it could break his heart.
You need to tell him what's going on. If you don't tell him, I will.
Home and Away, next week on 7.
Quality, style, exceptional value. A Mazda stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a Mazda CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers now.
Manolo, you're so cold. Come in. What's wrong?
It's dry.
Your scalp might get dry in the winter too. Try Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care. It nourishes the scalp and keeps you up to 100% flake-free. Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care. Dad!
Oh, sorry. It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose. Shh.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale is on now. Save on a great range of quality furniture for a limited time. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale on now.
An order for Lego. Someone's in for some fun. Bet you love toys. You're childish.
No, I'm not.
Have you ever solved a murder? In June's Journey, you can. Refresh your mind with clever puzzles amidst the glamour of the 1920s. Are you up to the challenge? Download June's Journey now for free.
I thought my teeth were clean, but my dentist said no, there's still plaque. Switch your brush from this to one with a rounded brush head.
Oral-B is rounded to reach between teeth and gums, gently removing plaque for healthier gums. Oral-B, brush like a pro.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you have the same taste.
We both like our crafted cushions and finished faux fur. We love our HD, LED, LCD, 4K, pixel TVs.
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
Police are hunting 2 thieves who broke into a home north of Brisbane overnight, stealing a car at knife point. 7 News has obtained exclusive pictures of the moment the thieves were confronted as they tried to get away.
Just before 10 o'clock last night, 2 men can be seen running from a Griffin home with a stolen handbag and keys. In pursuit, a desperate housemate chases them to their getaway car, bringing their escape to an abrupt halt.
Their window was down, so we pulled the keys out of the ignition, which is when the car stalled and the keys dropped on the floor of the car.
Alicia, who lives in the house and wishes to remain anonymous, says the thieves then pulled a knife on her housemate, demanding the keys back.
They thought that he had them, so he was like, I don't have them. He stepped away, and that's when they jumped out of that car and jumped into my car.
They used keys stolen from her bedroom while her and her housemate were in other parts of the house.
I'm not sure how long that they were in the back bedroom for. or how long they were creeping around the house for.
It all happening so fast, she didn't even realise her Audi was being stolen. The Audi was then driven here to Brighton and dumped in this quiet street. Police immediately searched the area but couldn't find the two offenders. Police did catch one of the thieves today. A 16-year-old boy has been charged with a number of offences and will face children's court. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
The driver of a car in which 3 people were killed after hitting a tree near Chinchilla remains in a critical condition at Princess Alexandra Hospital. The 42-year-old woman suffered chest and abdominal injuries after veering off the road. The car burst into flames and the 3 men in the back seat died in the fire. The other male passenger only suffered minor injuries and pulled the driver from the wreck. The driver who ploughed into a hijab store in Sydney's West, injuring 14 people, is tonight behind bars. Sabri Nassar had been charged with inflicting actual bodily harm. The magistrate ruling he is too much of a risk to be allowed on the road. Nassar's lawyer told the court he suffered a medical episode. The 51-year-old was re-arrested late yesterday when detectives made a link to another crash in January and was refused bail. It's being taken by Donald Trump and trialled as a virus prevention here in Australia, but now the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine is being linked to an increased risk of death in COVID patients. It's the finding of a new global study, but America's president had something else on his mind, sending his country back to church.
Speaking directly to some of his most ardent supporters.
Some governors have deemed liquor stores and abortion clinics as essential, but have left out churches and other houses of worship. It's not right.
Ordering states allow places of worship to reopen.
If they don't do it, I will override the governors. In America, we need more prayer, not less.
Honestly, that would be reckless. It's Friday. They're not ready.
Donald Trump not stopping for questions, leaving it to his press secretary to spar with reporters.
Boy, it's interesting to be in a room that desperately wants to seem to see these churches and houses of worship stay closed.
I object to that. I mean, I go to church. I'm dying to go back to church. The question that we're asking you and would like to have asked the president and Dr. Birx is it safe?
Washington, D.C. now has the highest rate of positive coronavirus cases in the country, followed by Baltimore, Chicago and Minneapolis. And the precautionary drug the president's taking to stay safe is tonight under more scrutiny after a sweeping study found hydroxychloroquine could be lethal in COVID patients. Findings published in a medical journal showed patients who took the anti-malarial drug were 34% more likely to die, a 137% increased risk of heart arrhythmia. The US military confident America can deliver a vaccine this year.
I've spoken to our medical experts about this. We are completely confident that we can get this done.
In New York, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
This weekend is the Salvation Army's annual Red Shield Appeal, usually the country's biggest door-knock fundraiser. But they've had to make some changes, instead rallying support in the virtual world.
I see the need every day, but we're in it for the long haul.
For 55 years, the annual Red Shield Appeal has helped the Salvation Army help vulnerable Australians. But this weekend, they won't be knocking on your door or rattling tins.
It's all had to go digital.
For the first time, they're calling for donations via digital door knocking.
This year, there is an even greater need, as our country has faced 2 great crises simultaneously.
In addition to their bushfire relief fundraiser, in the past year, the Salvos have cared for more than 1 million people, helped 46,000 homeless and supported 13,000 family violence victims. But COVID is expected to make this year the toughest in the Salvos' history.
This year's appeal will remind us that there are people that we are needing to help that we've never had to help before.
The Minderoo Foundation, run by Andrew and Nicola Forrest, is pledging $500,000 and matching public donations up to the same amount.
If you give $5, we'll make it $10. If you give $20, we'll make it $40.
The Salvation Army's fundraising approach may have changed, but their target for this weekend's appeal hasn't. They're hoping to raise $8 million over 2 days, $35 million by the end of June. And while they understand for many money is tight, they're asking the community to give what they can.
Even if that's a small amount or we have the capacity to give in a larger way, every little bit's going to make a difference.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
A giant flash of light has lit up Australian skies, next solving the mystery of last night's spectacular night show. Baz Luhrmann's hint about the future of the Elvis Presley movie on the Gold Coast. Too close for comfort, a swimmer's close encounter with a grey nurse shark. And a step back in time, the colossal creation set to attract people to the Queensland outback.
Hello, Zoe. I have been watching you.
Here we go. I'm a mum of 2. If you haven't had things under your nail and wondered if it's Nutella or poo, then you're not a mum. I am a woodwork teacher.
I am Big Brother, and I have chosen you. You're used to taking charge, but in here, it's me who's in charge. Are you ready for what I have planned?
I'm about as subtle as a brick in the face.
I am Big Brother. Who wins? You decide.
As this year continues to be a challenging one for all of us, NRMA Insurance remains dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a customer help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. If you're experiencing financial hardship, call us today to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
Did someone say KFC?
A few days ago, James had neck pain. Then he discovered Voltaren Emel Gel. It relieves pain 2 times faster and reduces inflammation. Now with a no-mess applicator.
Everybody has a great story to tell, and mine is anything but ordinary. My name's Helen, and I'm a writer, content creator, and entrepreneur. The new Surface Laptop 3 is light, elegant, and powerful, and with Instant On, it's always ready to go. You never know when inspiration is going to strike. From writing in a park to creating content on set, it's perfect for my busy life, and I just love the new metal finish. The new Surface Laptop 3 truly is anything but ordinary.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Some people might see superannuation funds as a sea of sameness. But some super members belong to a fund that's dedicated only to them. Sun Super's stress-tested investment strategies have delivered strong long-term returns that have beaten the industry average over 3, 5, 7 and 10 years. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sun Super.
Checking fuelcast now. Prices will continue to fall. Motorists should hold off on filling up. The average price for unleaded fuel in Brisbane is $7.5 and $9 on the Gold Coast. A Sunshine Coast man has died after he lost control of his motorbike and crashed into a light post on the Bruce Highway. The 36-year-old was heading south near Mango Hill just before 2:30 a.m. Police closed 2 lanes around the accident, causing some traffic delays. Any witnesses are being urged to come forward. Stargazers reached for their astronomy guides as a mysterious flying object lit up the night sky across the east coast. Experts suspect it was space junk, or more specifically, a Russian rocket re-entering the Earth's atmosphere.
A blaze of fire in the night sky. So unusual, some witnesses feared an aeroplane had exploded.
It was just one round ball and it was like bright red and orange.
Others suspected it was a meteorite, but experts say it was travelling too slowly and the burning arc was too fast to be a comet.
What we actually saw was a late-stage rocket that put
a Russian satellite into orbit.
A Russian military satellite which launched yesterday.
It may have been a satellite to be able to detect the launch of ballistic missiles on Earth.
The fiery space junk lit up the sky for around 40 seconds last night, spotted by lucky stargazers in Victoria, New South Wales, Canberra, South Australia and even Tasmania. Many witnesses reported hearing a sonic boom as the rocket re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, leading astronomers to believe it was travelling at Mach 1 speed, more than 1,200 kilometres an hour.
We would see something like that if we're fortunate enough to be outside looking up and the sky was clear, perhaps 2 or 3 times a year.
Great thing to be able to experience and watch.
Space junk rarely makes it to Earth, with only 2 injuries ever reported. Christy Mayer, 7 News.
Elvis has not left the building. That's the message from movie director Baz Luhrmann, who's halted filming of the Elvis biopic on the Gold Coast. It comes after Hollywood actor Tom Hanks tested positive to coronavirus in March.
I mean, as far as the Elvis film goes, we will talk about that later, but certainly it's true that Elvis has not left the building.
The movie great has promised filming will recommence in Queensland after restrictions eased. A swimmer's had an incredibly close encounter with a shark off Perth. Dean Chili was diving off Rottnest Island when this large grey nurse approached and swam right over his head. It may have been a little close for comfort, but it did give Dean a spectacular look at the shark's rows of teeth. Coming up, it's time for These Days. Fans, get ready for Powderfinger's one-night-only reunion. And the enormous project now under construction, bringing the ancient past to life in outback Queensland. Is there any coming back for the Reds Rebels, Pat?
Katrina, maybe not here. Hello, everyone. Cut for refusing a pay cut. Australian rugby has made a big call. Jimmy the Jet's back at training, but is he cleared for takeoff? And daycare with the Stars. Jason Day's valiant attempt at homeschooling.
Tomorrow on Weekender, market days from the city
just right
to the country.
Mate, I'm glad to see you.
Tomorrow at 5:30 on 7.
Hear that? It's the sound of your new escape. Visit the most relaxing new getaways.
It's beautiful.
Find the lifestyle you've always dreamt of.
I can see myself here at home.
Here's to you and your new life.
New Escape to the Country, tonight on 7/2.
No matter how you care for them, take comfort that Huggies Ultra Dry Nappy Pants stretchy fit and instant absorption keeps your baby's skin dry and comfortable. Huggies. Be comfortable in your skin.
Experience the delicious intensity of Lindt excellence. By the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Is frequent heartburn interrupting your life, causing you to reach for short-term relief over and over again? There is a better way. Unlike antacids that often require multiple doses per day, Nexium 24-Hour provides longer-lasting protection from frequent heartburn with just 1 tablet a day. Nexium 24-Hour provides round-the-clock protection. Live life less interrupted. Get Nexium 24-Hour for a great price at Chemist Warehouse.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale is on now. Save on a great range of quality furniture for a limited time. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale on now.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
Coming to you live from the scene. Tell us what you've got there. Toilet paper?
Nah, just dinner stuff.
Right. You must have paid an unprecedented price for that during these unprecedented times.
Nah, they're from Aldi. Prices are always low.
Let's just go.
Whatever happens, our low prices are here to stay. Aldi. Good. Different.
Queensland, our strong health response to COVID-19 means we're well positioned for a strong economic response. We've already lifted some restrictions, but our road to recovery will take time. And while a return to work will be phased, supporting our economy starts now with infrastructure investment, tax relief packages, and all of us supporting local business. For more information, visit the COVID-19 website. Let's work together and back Queensland jobs. Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
At 7 p.m, states at war over travel bans. The race for a vaccine sparks global tensions and the next wave of jobs that don't yet exist. That's the latest from 7 News at 7.
The Reds Rebels have been cut loose by Rugby Australia, terminating their contracts for refusing to accept COVID pay cuts. The only professional footballers in the nation not to cop it, Aussie fans may have seen the last of Wallaby Isaac Rodder, Isaac Lucas and Harry Hockings.
They've been locked out of Ballymore and Australian rugby. Three of the country's most promising talents, now pariahs.
We all have to face the consequences of our decisions in life, don't we? There's no avenue open to them in Australia at this time.
Could you see a time when they are welcome back into Australian rugby?
We're not looking that far ahead.
It comes just 8 months after both Isaacs signed 4-year deals with Rugby Australia.
It is confusing to us that they appeared happy enough to sign for an extended period. It solidified our programs. We really like them as players. They're part of the future.
They've been very much talking through their manager. All three share the same manager, and that's no surprise to anybody.
That's Anthony Piccone, who didn't return our calls today. He has strong ties in Japan, where it's believed the trio are heading. An Under Siege HQ shot down suggestions of a mass exodus.
We're not Robinson Crusoe there. Other rugby economies are suffering as much as we are. Therefore, other options for any players thinking that this is a ticket to a golden pot, I think, will be sorely disappointed.
So much depends on a TV deal. That and a minimum 5-team domestic comp starting in July should be finalised within a fortnight. Ben Davis, 7 News.
After a scandal-riddled build-up to the NRL restart, the Rabbitohs finally got a boost today. As Souths prepare for Premiers the Roosters on Friday night in Sydney, James Roberts was a welcome sight at training.
Back at Redfern Oval after passing a coronavirus test and leaving a rehab facility to treat mental health, this is where James Roberts thrives. Jimmy the Jet looks ready for takeoff again, and playing footy's what he needs most. Souths won't dispute Cody Walker's 2-game suspension for the fight in Casino, but they've asked the NRL for clarification over the $20,000 fine for not reporting the incident to the Integrity Unit. The Roosters can't wait to face their arch-rivals instead of training with a lean, mean Jared Wairia-Hargreaves.
He's looking good, isn't he? I've got a couple of elbows to the throat.
But Lindsay Collins will take that over the carpentry work he's been doing back home in Brisbane.
Digging holes, doing a lot of footings and stuff like that definitely makes you appreciate the game a lot more.
Nobody sacrificed more than warrior Peta Hiku, who's left a newborn son in New Zealand.
I think what made it easier for myself was my partner was forcing me out of the house. Anyway, she sort of understood the situation we were doing.
It could have been for nothing if the referees didn't drop their industrial dispute. Peter Volandis bypassed their union rep and went straight to the refs.
The end to this dispute was brought about by the referees themselves.
Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
The biggest day so far of Queensland's Winter Carnival has been laced with drama. Police arrived at an already locked down Eagle Farm and racing was halted after a bomb scare. An 8-week makeover finally back to headquarters, but it wasn't the return nervous Queensland power brokers envisaged.
It has been eventful. We did have a police operation delay the races for close to an hour.
Still, the bomb scare couldn't shake strictly enforced biosecurity protocols, measures which have ensured the sport has proceeded across the mainland. There'll be only 2 Group 1s in this diluted carnival. Glamour 2-year-olds Rothfire and Isotope are leading contenders for one of them.
Rothfire in front, Isotope now starts to hit top gear. No, Rothfire going brilliantly.
I think he's beat a couple of pretty good horses there, so he stamps himself now as he's right up there.
In fact, the gelding's now favourite for the JJ Atkins. Doubtless Heathcote relieved this colt is staying in Sydney.
But Pelter protects his unbeaten record. That's 3 out of 3.
Trainer Gerald Ryan opting to target Spring Riches with Pelser. The picture is clear for Queensland's premier sprint, the Stradbroke, after today's victory stakes.
Victorum shot to the lead. Deep Image tries hard. Nicanova flying. Victorum won the victory.
Jenny Graham's 5-year-old now a real Stradbroke fancy in the Gunsynd Classic Punters Charge for Chris Waller's boom horse, Canane, but he finished third.
Supergiant in front. Ballistic Boy trying hard. Supergiant, Ballistic Boy, photo finish.
Supergiant got it, gifting jockey Alan Chow his biggest win. Being a major winning golfer gets you no favours when it comes to homeschooling and lockdown. Jason Day, holed up in Columbus, Ohio, led geography lessons.
Where is Dada from?
Australia.
Okay, 2 interesting facts about Australia.
Help me.
We have 17 of the most poisonous snakes in the world. That's pretty crazy.
PGA Tour is due to resume on June 11. I'm thinking Jason can't wait.
He looks like a little firecracker, his son. Thank you, Pat. Well, Powderfinger fans are counting down the minutes and seconds to tonight's virtual reunion concert. It's the first time the band has performed together since their retirement a decade ago at Brisbane's River Stage. Fans are gathering together in their lounge rooms ready to enjoy some of the band's greatest hits.
We're so excited.
Yeah. Hopefully this isn't as good as it gets. Hopefully there's another big tour or something. This is just a taster, we're hoping.
The YouTube concert will support charities Beyond Blue and Support Act. Coming up, the attraction going to the next level, the transformation taking place in Queensland's outback at the age of dinosaurs.
And we're in for another chilly night across the southeast. How cold will it get? All those details and more after the break.
Our hotel held violence, noise, drugs. Dozens kicked out because of a handful of troublemakers. A special investigation on 7 News, Monday.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
We're here.
We're here. Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right.
Oh. This isn't our house.
Oh my God.
In the transformation of the year.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God.
It's all for Mum.
Oh my goodness. It's so different.
I think this is probably the best bathroom we've seen on House Rules.
They will do their best reno yet.
There's so much to see. I can't take it all in.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
I love everything. Things I never thought I'd have. And I'll be forever grateful. I don't deserve this. This is just... It's too much for one person to have. Amazing, memorable. Wow, thank you. Just doesn't seem enough. A part of you will always be in the house with us forever.
Mum's dream home will be revealed on House Rules on 7. The unmissable whole house reveal, Sunday at 7.
Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. But right now, most people who usually drive to work aren't. Most people who work from home are driving even less, and most retirees and commuters are homebound. If you are using your car less, we'd like to give you temporary relief on your car insurance premiums. UE clients, go to our website, follow the prompts, and your saving will be applied. Shopping around for car insurance? The same relief applies to you. UE, you insured.
The Beacon Frenzy sale is now on with 20% off all lights and fans. Update your home this winter and get 20% off every single light and fan this week only. Hurry, the Beacon Frenzy sale ends Sunday.
During the Nick Scarley Autumn Sale, the Contemporary Timber Aches dining table was $17.90, now $11.90. That's a great saving on quality furniture. Only at Nick Scarley on Now.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
As a proud Australian company, Andersons are keeping it real with our first ever Australian-made sale, supporting our local manufacturers. For a limited time, you'll save 20% off the entire range of premium Australian-made floor coverings and window furnishings store-wide. We have stock ready for your home, rental property or business. So call Andersons today for a free, safe in-home design consultation. Now that's a real deal.
At 7 p.m, states go to battle over border closures, the serial killer experts predicting pandemics and how coronavirus is affecting our dreams. The latest from 7 News next.
Today's main stories now. Queenslanders have been hit by an icy blast. Brisbane experiencing its coldest May day since 1922. A drug-fuelled Gold Coast party has taken a fatal turn, one teenager falling to his death, 4 others treated for overdoses. And pubs and restaurants are lobbying the Premier to lift the limit for dining to 50 people when Stage 2 begins next month. In the middle of the outback, just outside Winton, 2 colossal creations are edging closer to completion. Despite a pandemic, staff at the Australian Age of Dinosaurs are charging ahead with a dual development like nothing the world has ever seen.
As dawn breaks over the land of the dinosaurs and the day's first light reaches the central west, work is already underway. David Elliott founded the Australian Age of Dinosaurs in 2009. This is Stage 3.
It's going to look like this big meteorite and a big crater around it, and then we'll have all our big telescopes.
An observatory atop Australia's first dark sky sanctuary, one of only 10 in the world.
And the darker the sky, the brighter the stars.
And alongside it, an exhibition unlike any other.
Yeah, well, that's the March of Titanosaurs building. Inside is the dinosaur trackway.
Preserved sauropod footprints from the late Cretaceous period.
Back foot and the front foot.
Uncovered in a creek bed at Corula, 100 kilometres from here.
We knew it wasn't going to last any more than the first flood, so there's a bit of a rush to get the first bits out, which we did before those big floods last year. We beat it by a week.
Carefully removed and reconstructed over the past 2 years, an 80-metre long prehistoric jigsaw puzzle.
It's just amazing to see where this huge dinosaur has walked through.
To be guarded by 2 life-sized sauropods cast in bronze.
And that's something that will be recognised all over the world.
It was supposed to be finished in September.
Until COVID-19 turned up.
So, with no visitors, tour guides have become tradies.
I got them in there on jackhammers last week and shoveling and stuff like that. They love it.
It's hard to imagine what this all looked like 95 million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the region. But when this exhibition is finished, it will allow visitors from around the world to step back in time. It's hoped construction will be complete by April next year. And David's dream doesn't end there.
Eventually the new museum will be a little bit further back.
Leaving his own mark in the Australian outback. Mac Lyon, 7 News.
Speaking of prehistoric, here's Bertie.
Oh, Katrina. Oh, it just doesn't stop. Hello, everybody. Please, how cold is it today? Geez, it was really, really lovely. A roast afternoon for those, putting maybe a pork in the oven or something rather, or just the vegetables. But nonetheless, it was a beautiful day and another crisp one to come as well. Gee, that was a good one. Let's take a look at the current temperatures across the southeast, holding steady to about 11 degrees up on the Sunshine Coast, 14 in the city and the Gold Coast, 8 degrees for Toowoomba at the moment. Today, the mercury hit 14 degrees. Sunshine Coast, Bayside, 15 in the city, Logan. In case you didn't know, nearly the coldest day, May Day in the city for nearly 100 years. How's that? Looks as though we're going to see the satellite showing a deep low in the far south, ripping up cool air as westerly winds drive a pocket of cold air onto us. 1 degree for Alice Springs. Tomorrow we'll see the continuation of west-south-westerly winds blowing. Not as cool throughout the day due to less cloud and more sunshine, so great news ahead. A few showers moving in on the southern New South Wales and WA coastlines. Around the nation, shower 2 for Sydney, 13 to 18. Partly cloudy for Canberra, 3 to 13. Shower 2 for Melbourne. Wet for Perth, 15 to 20. Mostly sunny in the tropics, 24 for Cairns, 11 to 22 Townsville. 20 millimetres fell there today. 8 to 20 around Mackay. cool day. Further south, clear skies for the Capricornia, Wide Bay, Burnett regions. 8 to 20 for Rockhampton, 7 to 21 Hervey Bay, 5 to 15 at Toowoomba. Hello to Ali and Saul up there, rug up. And 2 to 17 for Roma. Back home, mostly clear skies, top of 21 for the Sunshine Coast and Beerburrum. Also Redcliffe, down to 10 degrees tonight. Patchy cloud for Bayside and Logan, top of 22. Gold Coast could see a late shower around the border. Otherwise, partly cloudy, 22. Boaties, west-south-west winds, light inshore early, increasing later on. Season swell 1.5 metres. Mostly sunny for the city tomorrow, starting at 9, top at 22. Ahead, dry and 23 Monday, 24 Tuesday. Similar for Ipswich, 24 Monday, 6 to 25 Tuesday. Gold Coast, dry week throughout, 10 to 23 Monday, 9 to 24 on Tuesday. And the Sunshine Coast, clear skies, 11 to 23 Monday and Tuesday. And you guessed it, the same for Wednesday. Let's take a look at the waterways if you are stepping outside tomorrow.
Surfing tomorrow will be ideal along all open stretches. West-southwesterly winds, only about 10 knots. Similar to this morning, keep the wetsuits on. It is cold when you're sitting on top of the board. Swell east-southeast, 12 seconds. We're going to see a high tide at 9:30. It's only a small one, around 1.3 metres. So perfect conditions on all open banks. Points a little bit exposed to that wind. Now, if you're going boating, pretty good conditions, I can assure you. You'll find perfect days out there on the western foreshores. You might want to rug up though. Open parts of the bay, a little bit choppy. Been some great catches coming through. A few whiting and bream off the beaches, along with a few tailor coming around at the moment. Swell still holding a bit of wash there. Mackerel are still on the local grounds around Halls Reef and also the Gold Coast Palmy. For those after sharks, they'll be on the move once the swell eases back on the banks. And also try for black marlin on the local 18s and 24s. Some nice little fish about.
Thanks so much for your company. Stand by now for the latest with Melissa Doyle. Enjoy your evening and stay warm.
Tonight, border